Something that Miami Hurricanes fans have been buzzing about the last few days when it comes to returning Canes players in 2023, and maybe you can explain how Pro Football Focus came up with this. So PFF released a list of the top 5 returning college football safeties. I don't think anyone was surprised to see Cam Kinchins come in the top 5 at number 2 because he stellar last year.
Yeah.
But, James Williams, to the naked eye, James Williams has been very uneven the last couple of years at Miami, and he actually made the top 5 at number 4. Explain how that came about.
Yeah, Kinchins, truthfully, I mean, I felt there are a lot of Miami fans that got mad at me for not putting him number 1, and I completely understand that. He was PFF's highest graded safety last year. He obviously was unbelievable in terms of getting, the most interceptions as well. But Kalen Bullock was a guy who played really well for 2 years. And that one was really tough. So if you're mad at me for putting Kinchins number 2, I don't blame you. I'm mad at myself, honestly, a little bit. But that was probably the toughest one. Williams at 4. It's always interesting when I rank a guy highly and fans come at me because I ranked him too high.
Yeah.
Around. And now that was interesting when Miami fans were like, really? Like James Williams 4? I will say, first off, after the top 3 safeties, it's a mosh posh. This is probably the most wide open position. This is by far the hardest of any of the positional rankings I had to do because there were so many safeties that left for the NFL draft or graduated, and there really weren't that many like elite safeties. Whereas other positions like offensive tackle, there's a ton of guys, wide receiver, a ton of guys, running back like that. Safety was not, cornerback was another really deep one, but safety was not one of those. So James Williams is a guy that, his coverage grade has consistently been really good. But the main thing that a lot of people have pointed out, and I agree with them, run defense has been not great for 2 years now, really, and which is surprising when you see a 6'5" safety, which is a freak of nature to begin with, 224 pounds. And he's not a very good run defender. He's actually really good in coverage. So this is kind of a projection more because I think James Williams would be a really good prospect in the 2024 draft alongside Kitchens. And he's showed really good numbers in coverage as well. But you see the missed tackles and you see all that and you say, how is he a top 5 safety? And I agree with you that is an issue. But I think, he alongside Kitchens, that's the best safety duo. And also I think James Williams, the potential that he has is probably better than any other safety on this list, honestly, with the freakish tools that he has too.
And John, you covered James in high school, so I'm sure you can speak to that potential. I think that a lot of people were hoping this last season, and I certainly hope it again next year, that 2023 can be the year that he puts everything together.
Yeah, he moved around a ton in high school, not only different high schools, but positionally. He was playing corner at times. He was at the line of scrimmage a ton, naturally with that type of size, which you understand at the prep level. That's where I wanted to go with it, Max. How much projection goes into kind of the returning player concept that you guys roll out at PFF? Because obviously there's only so much you can go off of. How much are you just kind of banking on, hey, all things even, 6'5", 220, freak of nature? We'll bank on that, much like we'll see when we start talking about him at the NFL level one day.
Yeah, that was what I struggled with. And I actually put out a mock draft if everyone was eligible, and that was a lot of projection. This, I really tried to say just straight up going into next year, who's the best? Now, of course, guys that, have been are playing at the same level as a redshirt senior versus a guy who's as good as him as a true sophomore. Usually I would side with the true sophomore there. So James Williams is a guy that I put above some older guys. Who have been maybe more well-rounded than him, like Rod Moore from Michigan is a guy that I really like, who's a really well-rounded safety. James Williams, I don't think is a really well-rounded safety. I think he's really good in coverage, and obviously he's a former 5-star recruit. And I'm kind of projecting, his coverage has always been really good. I'm not really too worried about that, but it's more the run defense and the missed tackles that I'm worried about. But honestly, the coverage is up there with the best of the best, in my opinion. And I think with those tools as well, and with him being potentially maybe a first round pick in next year's draft, that's kind of what pushed him so high in this list, is that I think he could become a lot better than what he's shown. And he's already shown really good signs in coverage so far.